Good morning from Sacred Space. It's the 2nd of July 2022. It's 10:18 a.m. I think it might have crossed over to 10:19 a.m. Well, I just kind of I'm having to sit in a strange position on my bed to catch the light on my face because otherwise I just look all ghosted out and weird, and I already feel like a ghost, so there is that. But having said that, I decided to do an update on my recent videos in full gratitude and appreciation to the gods, of course, as manifestations of the Holy One, the ancestors that love me. Not my original progenitors, we won't acknowledge those, but the ancestors, way back to the 1000th generation that love me, in appreciation of planet Earth, in appreciation of my shaman friends who sent me love and light and inner primordial, resources of inner strength that have been quite startling and astonishing, even in my own recalibration of my human feminine mystique. So here we are, the Bobo, my little protector. I call him my dog tour. Last time when I had major surgery in 2019, darling, you can't be sitting on that floor. I don't be having that. I referred to him as my dog tour because he is a dog tour, aren't you, Bodie? He's worried about his mum. He said, I'm sick of you being sick. From the day you brought me into your life almost 7 years ago, Beauregard, he said, you've been bloody chronically sick. And I hate to inform you of this, Bobo, but that's nothing new under the sun. We've been battling this human existence since before I entered this planet through my mother's uterine wall by cesarean. Yeah. Oh, look, you're so cute. You're so cute. So, yes, I get distracted. I almost feel like I've developed a mild form of ADHD, from all my terrible near-death experiences and surgeries and years of medications. It's like, it does make one wonder, doesn't it? But anyway, it's all right. We're all alive on planet Earth, and we're all striving to be happy. And it's hard won and well deserved, as one of my new viewers, my new friends, has commented. So I want to show you. This is for Jim. Oi, Gavolt. Here we go. Half a block of Black Forest chocolate. My GP would go insane if she saw this. She'd be like, oh my God, what are you doing? You kill yourself. I call it death by carbicide. A whole block of marvellous creations. Tongue in cheek. I like it because they have this like fizzy thing that pops in your mouth. And Miss 5, that's my other persona that keeps me alive and fights for me. Miss 5 likes popping fizzy things and chocolate and sweets. She's very primal, which is probably the reason I don't have a partner, because she doesn't like ceding over the soul hobbit body to anyone anymore. Had too much trauma with that. So never mind. On a happy note, I want this to be a happy, chocolatey. Oh, I must keep warm. It's really rainy. Do you want to see outside? It's really shitful. Shitful. Brisbane, Australia, today, Saturday morning. Shabbat. Misery. And They're traumatising us, preempting traumatising us for threats of more flooding, which, they're probably not lying about that. We've had an awful lot of flooding in recent years, but also this year. The last time it rained like this, Paul Lismore down just out of Byron Bay copped it really badly. So for all my complaints and my post-traumatic growth and all my anxieties and general mortal... Oh, my glasses. Oh, glory be. Here we go. More schmutz and puts. There is schmutz on. I think that's toothpaste, actually. For all our miseries and our vicissitudes of human existence, I've got it pretty good overall. I have a roof over my head and chocolate in my bedside cabinet and enough food to keep me going for, till next pension day. So, I'm a survivor. So yes, I wanted to say I started my antibiotics, which my doctor wasn't sure would work because they're not very strong ones, because I can't have the stronger ones because all my cumulative health problems counteract each other and knock everything out, right? So it's not just surviving my long-standing trauma issues, but it's surviving my body turning on itself and fighting itself at every vector of existence. So, it's hard to get me properly medicated because my body just goes, nah, fool, not going there, and knocks it out. Which is why I weaned off all my psych meds in the last psych med I took was early June, I think 3rd of June 2016, because I was just treatment resistant. They didn't work. And I'm treatment resistant because really the cumulative trauma and abuse that is now manifested by global societal abuse has never ended. So I decided I wasn't going to dope myself into oblivion on psych meds that didn't work and turn me into a drooling, shuffling, almost unsentient automaton. I wanted my mind back. So I grabbed at that. I grabbed at life force again, and I got my mind back. But unfortunately, in the last, it's 6 years now, 7 since the suicide attempt. I got my mind back, and I'm really proud of having the clarity and the only word I can describe it is a Māori word, mana. The Hawaiians use that word too, mana, meaning power, life force, strength, courage, valor. It's potent. It comes from deep within the person's spirit. In fact, from our earth itself, I believe. So I've retrieved my mana. But then, of course, I came even as an infant with a lot of mana, so maybe I didn't so much retrieve it as re-innovate it. So I've had 2.5 days of antibiotics. I started Wednesday night, and oh my goodness, I must tell you, it's a very common thing for people to die. Usually, they call it the witching hour. It's usually about 3 a.m. when people pop their clogs, right? And because I've been feeling very ill with my lungs, my lungs are compromised at the best of times. But this has been a long, long illness, and this last few weeks have been harrowing. So even though I'm on the antibiotics, well, quite astonishingly, I got woken up at, I think it was 3 3:20 a.m. And I get up all night because I have to pee all night because menopause and obstructive sleep apnea makes you pee, right? So it's just a misfortune layered upon misfortunes because I had to have major surgery in 2007 for that issue, so I'm dreading that falling apart, and having the pressure from the constant coughing is not good for the bladder either. So I'm very conscious that I'm getting older and frailer, and I'm alone on this planet, apart from my beautiful YouTube and Facebook friends, and my friend Lynn Sloan. And I would include my friend Jared and my daughter Crystal, but I haven't seen Crystal for weeks, and I haven't seen my friend Jared in person for months. But we talk on the phone. We're back to talking on the phone, and I value and appreciate that. But so apart from my friend Lynn Sloan, who visits me regularly and fusses over me like a mother and spoils me lavishly with, she brought me vitamins and all sorts of little medical aids and chocolate and food. She's just so sweet and so nurturing and so loving. And but she's the only human being I really see now. So, and I know why. My daughter goes to ground when I get really ill, which is frequently in my life that I do this death spiral. It's literally like, a descending frickin' fighter plane going, mayday, mayday, breaker, 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 we're going down. And then I'm gonna die. And you know what? It's quite nonsensical in a way, because I'm not actually worried about dying. I mean, I'm not worried about death, I should say. Death is a natural byproduct of living, and I've faced that hag dozens of times since infancy, and especially in recent years. 2015, 2019, I had 3 attacks when I thought I might, physical, medical related attacks, when I actually thought I might not survive. So, and the 3 piled up on each other after the surgery. And 25th of June 2019, there was another near-death choking asthmatic attack in November, and there was a third one. And then I sat up and took notice. I thought, what are the angels and the gods and the ancestors that love me telling me here? They're telling me that my time here is limited and precarious, as it has always been, and precious, and that I have a mission on this planet. At that time I didn't know, none of us knew that COVID was about to be unleashed on us. I think there was some mumblings about it in December 2019 when I started to sit up and go, what the hell is going on here? But they didn't start really ramping it up here in Australia until I think it was February, when they started we're going to have to bring in vaccines, and we're going to have to lock everyone down, and it started getting dystopian and scary, all in the name of health. So, but those 3 near-death, very frightening near-death reminders, although ironically with the surgery I wasn't actually frightened, because I'd already been in agony for years, several years, with the gallbladder thing. I just thought, oh, thank God, it's going to end now. I'm going out on my last breath. I actually opened my arms wide and said, I'm ready, thank you, take me. And my angels, capricious and mischievous as they are, said to me, no, we're sending you back to a hellscape of epic proportions, which would normally be very frightening, but I remember sitting there going, what? Why? I'm done. Now bear in mind, this was all articulated out loud because, under the influence still of the anaesthetic, and not quite conscious that, there was a patient lying in the bed next to me, and another elderly gentleman in an adjoining room who was so shocked and probably a bit disturbed and distressed by my calling out to the gods, the angels, the spirits, going, "What are you doing? How can you do this to me?" It's like I was on my last breath. But he actually, when I finally got up to pee after that surgery, I think it was around 2 a.m., he just stared at me like this. He was much older, probably in his 70s. I've never seen anything like it. He was even in the face of death. I was still arguing with God or the God. I don't know who that entity was really, because I didn't really see them, but it was very profound. They gave me a lot of instructions. One of it was, "We're sending you back, and there's no easy get out of life. Go collect $200. There's no easy get out of life card for you, Tanya. You have to go back." So here I am back, and but my health has deteriorated with my lungs quite dramatically since I did a little industrial injury last November. So there is that. And also, I think it was the stress, the constant stress of me going into warrior goddess mode, fighting against the government mandates and the government COVID vaccine regime that I haven't I haven't personally been comfortable with. Now, of course, I'm not telling, because YouTube tries to silence me, so I want to tell you, I want to remind you, these were my thoughts on it. If anyone else wanted to get injected, that was their choice, and it should have always been a choice. My issue were the mandates, the bribing people with football tickets and donuts, and, well, they could have easily bribed me with chocolate, since I'm such a sucker for chocolate, but I don't take well to being bribed by government decrees in the guise of health. So there is that. But these are my personal opinions. You out there in YouTube world, you do what you have to do that you think will gift you more time on this planet. And I hope and I pray that the time we all have on this planet is for our most beneficial, most highest outcome that brings us to recalibration, restoration, better health, a better society for all life forms, and peace. Shalom. Peace. Wouldn't that be nice? But anyway, my antibiotics are working, except as I started with this little segue. Oh my goodness. Honestly, I think I'm still a little bit hypomanic from the prednisone I took, which was nearly a week ago now. I'm still not quite right mentally. I'm all florid and segueing and unable to focus on one theme. So bear with me. I'm really not well, Lussie. Really not well. Not well, Luddy. Lussie. Whomever's protecting me here. So yesterday was a bit alarming because I get messages from spirits because I've lived so close to death since early childhood, and I nearly died many times. It must have opened up something in my pineal gland or my crown chakra where I have this very intimate connection to the spirits, and I kind of tamped that down after I got married, I tamped it down. I was so busy and focused raising young children and trying to be all in, earth mother, goddess, wife, mother, daughter, in the most toxic, evil environment that I barely survived that experience. But my focus was to raise my children in as much safety as I could. Although that got shot to pieces, but never mind. It's not the purpose of this video. We won't go there. That is in the past. But I lived through immense trauma, and trying to provide safety for my children failed, and they ended up living through immense trauma too. So there is that. But anyway, after that trauma activation, it got opened up by various strangulations. Once again, the spirits stepped in. And so most of the time, I'm not even sure who's driving my own bus, my own physicality. And to the uninitiated, I do seem quite mad. But I'm not at all mad. I'm a trauma survivor. And so I accept all the assistance and guidance and support and help and unconditional healing, whole love, agape love, that I can get from the known multiverse. And it comes in unexpected ways, beautiful ways, astoundingly beautiful ways, often from strangers, especially in recent months via my activities on YouTube and Facebook. So if you're here listening to this video, welcome to Psychedelic Dreamers world. I don't do psychedelics, but I am a psychedelic dreamer. My mind does work in unusual, kaleidoscopic, colourful ways, and I dream most nights. So it's tongue-in-cheek. That was my nickname on Pal Talk for 16 years, and tongue-in-cheek, I call myself the psychedelic dreamer. But there in our dreams lie a great deal of, guidance and healing, and sometimes prophecy, sometimes precognition, wisdom. My poor old brain doesn't get much rest, really. And I haven't been resting it. That's probably why I'm struggling right now with too much illness, because I've been supercharged by the gods to gather as much knowledge and wisdom as I possibly can in the event that I need it in my little toolbox, right? So anyway, where was I? Last night, 3:20 a.m. I was very ill. I got up for my little nighttime ablutions and started randomly coughing up lots of gout from my chest, which I was grateful for, because that shit has to go, man. It has to get out of this body. And even laughter is difficult for me now because it makes me cough. Laughter used to be the best medicine. No, laughing nearly freaking kills me. But anyway, that might be okay to go out laughing. So anyway, I got up. It was freezing cold and damp. Coughed up half a lung. Let the dog out. He had his little wee-wees too. Come back, and he normally likes to sort of meander on warm nights, on summery nights. He likes to meander out in the middle of the night, and I have trouble getting him to come inside, and I'm usually going, because I don't want to wake up the neighbours whistling my dog, right? And he's just so cheeky. He usually just goes walkabout in the night. But last night he didn't. He did a little wee-wee, and he looked at me and went, "Ooh, it's not so good out here." And he ran straight back in, and I was so grateful, because I thought, oh God, I hope I don't have to put on a jacket and go stalking around the garden in the cold and the damp trying to get my little doggy to come inside. So he was a very good boy last night, weren't you, Beauregard? He says, Tooth. Even my dog Tooth and Throat sings. I'm talking about you, Bobo. You can be nice. Oh, you could be nice. All right, I'll leave him alone. He's his own person. So anyway, so I came in and I went straight to bed and I lay there and I thought, that was a bit touch and go actually. And I thought, you know what, I'm getting better because I'm producing things off this thing that doesn't really like me terribly much. And I thought about all my new scar tissue from all the cleavings from the skin doctor. I haven't looked at it. I haven't looked at my back. The ones on my shoulders are healed quite lovely. They are. He did actually a very good job. But that last one where the cyst came out, it's all, it just feels revolting. It feels like old leather and crisscrossed and peeling. It's revolting. But in a couple of days, it will be gone. It will, there'll still be a nasty scar, but it will smooth over, I expect, because the other ones did that. So I'm quite impressed. For a woman that, feels like she's dying most of the time now, I am on the turn to getting better. And part of it is just sheer mindset, and a part of it is probably the new steroid spray my doctor gave me. It's a much stronger one. I haven't had to use Ventolin much in the last few days because, oh my gosh, I went through so much Ventolin. And part of it might be the antibiotics, although they're not very strong ones, so we won't give them too much credit, but they might be getting this heaviness off my chest. And, look, I'm wet. I washed my hair and had a shower. Because with being so weak and ill, my hair is so lank and oily, I have to wash it every 2 days. And it's been like that for the last, about the last 6 weeks. Since they cut into my back, with the cancers. That was terrible timing when I was already so ill with my lungs, but we do what we have to do. I'm supposed to have a colonoscopy, but my GP, I said to my GP, I said, doctor, the way I feel right now, a colonoscopy will definitely be the end of me. So we've deferred it for 3 months, so that's okay. I hate colonoscopies, they're vile things, absolutely vile. I've other people, it's not that bad, it's just like having a colonic irrigation. Yeah, well for me it just spirals me under, and a lot of it is the aspartame they put in the prep. Sends me batshit. And to be fair, I have not recovered from the last colonoscopy I had on the 26th of July 2021. So it's almost a year, and I was due for another one on the 26th of this year. But the hospital hasn't sent out any, reminder to me. They were supposed to do it directly with me. Haven't done it. My GP kind of freaked out. I said, no, that's all right. I fought them every inch of the way last time. They were so abusive. Not the clinical staff this time, but the admin staff. I said, so they've deliberately, pushed me off the computer system. I said, and I'm okay with that. She goes, no, you'll get bowel cancer and you'll die of that. Well, fuck it. We all die, don't we? But anyway, I agreed. I said to her, if we don't hear from them in the next month, then she will request a colonoscopy and I will grudgingly submit to that. I wish I could go to a different hospital though, because that one That one is utterly monstrous. I had both my hysterectomy, bladder repair, prolapse repair in there, and they were so brutal to me. It was hideous, absolutely hideous. And the colonoscopies, most of the colonoscopies have been okay. I mean, they send me tropo and they weaken my whole system, but the last one was highly abusive. And I put that down to the COVID regime as well. It's like all the hospital system has turned utterly demonic. Demonic, it's no other word for it. Which is why I chose to go for my chest x-ray on Thursday. I went to the Greenslopes private hospital because they actually deal regularly, on a regular basis, with war veterans who have PTSD. So they actually treat me with a bit more sweetness and consideration than I get in the other hospitals. Anyway, and I must say also that, because I'm always fair, the Hurston Dental Hospital are lovely too, very lovely. So, because they're a teaching hospital and they're training dentists, so I've had good experiences there. So, hopefully I can find a medical team or a hospital that treats me with, basic human rights and courtesy and respect, which is due any other patient, who's vulnerable and ill and weakened. And usually by the time we reach the point where we think we're dying, getting a bit histrionic and hysterical as well. So there is that. Anyway, the Psychedelic Dreamer, the Tanya, Miss 5, I am on the road to recovery, I think, I hope. My sweet neighbour came out. We actually share the same birthday, and he's also of Polish descent. His father's Polish. He said to me a couple of days ago, he said, "How are you, Tanya?" I said, "I'm dying." He said, "Oh, that's sweet, Tanya." He said, "You sound like my wife's grandmother, who was Russian." He said, "She was dying all her life." And he said, "She'd finally died 2 years ago at 97. And I laughed. I said, "I hear you. I hear you." I said, "My German mother, who's of Polish descent, was also dying for 37 years of my lifetime from the age of 7. She did actually die, clinically die, and have a near-death experience when I was 7. So I said, my mother was dying an awful long time too, and she was always going to die of cancer. I said, but ironically she died of advanced Alzheimer's instead, so there you go, life is weird." But I said, I must admit, I got rather sick of my mother saying she was going to die too. I usually translate that when someone says to me, "Oh, I'm dying," to, "I've had a really shitty day. I'm feeling really quite unwell and I'm spiraling under." I don't usually take it quite literally that they're actually, fucking dying. And and I tell my friends usually, I usually warn my friends, when I start with this, "I think I'm going to die soon," take no notice, because I've had a lifetime of chronic, very, very bad health issues. And so I tend to get a bit, like when I get very ill, my brain says, "Oh, well, you must be dying." And it's not really until I start actually reaching that point of acceptance when I say, "Fuck, I think I'm actually dying this time," that something inside my spirit, my inner core, my neshama, my chi, my life force, my something, does this uprising. Sometimes it can be a catastrophic uprising that is quite terrifying for the uninitiated to witness. like what happened on Friday when I decided that the black mold was killing me and exerted my physical body with supernatural forces of extra strength, I don't know where that came from, to clean my room. That was astonishing, and I'll blame it on my shamanic practitioners who sent me extra spiritual healing, because you know what? It worked. And I'll blame it on the Tuvan throat singing, and I'll blame it on the Viking singing too. It innovated my spirit and gave me the strength to carry on a few more days until I got myself to the doctor on Wednesday. You know, a few days prior today, on Wednesday this week. So, and you know, even me going to a doctor is a sign of absolute last resort. You know, like my GP said, I haven't seen you for 18 months, Tanya, and I said, no, I'm avoiding all doctors. I don't trust any of you anymore, I'm sorry to say. She just looked at me. I said, I'm only here because I've run out of Serotype, and I've run out of, I'm very quickly running out of Ventolin. And I said, without the Serotype and without the Ventolin, I most definitely will die. And she looked quite horrified. And I said, you know me, doctor. I only come when I'm seriously ill and it's something that I personally can't fix myself. You know, like when I had the gallbladder thing that dragged on. I dragged that out for 2 bloody years. And there were quite a few attacks. I don't know how I didn't die of those, quite frankly. So, here we are. Back in the room, back in the game, perchancing to enchant and dance the fandango with Lady Death, my mistress, who twirls gloriously and rhythmically and beautifully. Well, I flicked her off into the corner again. She's sitting over there chuckling, going, I'll get you in the end, my pretty. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Take your time, princess. I'm still hanging on. My lovely neighbour, my neighbour with the Polish ancestry and the our Slavic predilections for threatening to die and yet living extraordinarily long lives. You know, have you seen my lifeline? I'll show you my lifeline. Can you see that thing? That thing? It curves all the way around, halfway around my hand. I do believe it's gotten longer than it used to be. But see, what worried me was this big break here. This big break in my lifeline here. Can you see it? That was, I think that was the last 2019 when the gods vomited me back. I call it vomited me back to Earth because I'm not well liked on this planet. I haven't had an easy life. I haven't been cherished. I haven't been adored, except by my close friends. I've been kicked from pillar to post. I've been divested of homes, businesses, livelihoods, a university education. The things I've gone through, are appalling. So I have not been well liked on this planet. However, look at this. They keep throwing me back, and as I keep being vomited, hurled, cast back, sometimes against my own will. Like the last time I was really cheesed off that they vomited me back. They keep saying, no, you have a mission, what's my mission? I didn't know what my mission was. I had no freaking idea. I haven't fully conceptualized what my mission is, because I'm too busy living each day in really quite still primal survival mode But I come back. Each time I nearly die, my friend Lynn pointed it out, and it's true. Each time I nearly die, I come back more powerful spiritually. I don't consider myself a powerful person, financially or physically. I'm not very fit. I do my little walk around the block for 10 minutes with the dog, so I have improved in my core strength that way. But I'm not generally very strong or fit like other people. I don't believe in gyms, and I just do my dancing and in summer swimming and my walks around my block, and that's the only exercise I get. So, but I come back. Lynn pointed out, she's quite correct. Each time I have nearly died, especially in recent years, since the 2015 event, I come back even stronger. Look at this. Look at it. It gets more deeper and more deeper and curves around. And, as ill as I've been in recent weeks, I thought that lifeline's a lie. The lifeline continuing on so strongly, and so there's a few breaks in it, so I can see there's still health issues in the future ahead of me. There are a few cracks in it, which will mean I will go either way. I'll have to choose life, as I've always done. But it gets stronger and stronger, and you know what I thought to myself? I thought to myself, I'm going to die this time. This is the end. Because I can see the crack in the lifeline. And I thought to myself, that's okay. Because in truth, I will never die. No one of this internet generation will die. I mean, obviously we will shuck off our physical form at some point. Hopefully in a peaceful, loving, dignified way. That's all I want from my dying. Let it be peaceful, dignified and loving. And I don't have a say in that, no one does, but that's my prayer. And we will shuck off our forms, our physical forms and our identities of who we are in this space and time on planet Earth. And our spirits will, I believe our spirits will go on to wherever it is we go to, whatever work or evolution mission is for us in the world to come. I do firmly believe in that. But etherically and intellectually and energetically, our essence of who we are on planet Earth in this internet world never dies. Well, I don't know how people will access my YouTube videos if I'm dead and I don't know how that will work. Maybe it does die. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all my stuff just goes when I go to. But etherically, all our YouTube videos, our photographs, our videos, our writings. I'm avidly storing all my daily journaling that I do on Facebook, which gets lost it gets lost in Facebook, and like once a day they give you memories, and half the time they don't even retrieve all your memories from all your writings, so you lose stuff. You do lose it, but somewhere in that internet black box, wherever it is they store the stuff, it's there, it gets retrieved eventually by whoever's interested to look at it. But because I only get mine once a day, I have been assiduously for the past year copying and pasting all my writing, and sometimes new material as well, onto vocal media, because I'm conscious that all our stories, every human on this planet, are important. Our truths need to be valued. Our memories, sometimes so deeply traumatic and painful, need to be recorded. And our post-traumatic growth from those memories, with the help of therapy that I've had for 20 plus years, need to be recorded. Look, honestly, no one reads my stuff. Very few people read my stuff, and I don't blame them, because it's harrowing. It's beyond awful what I survived in my family of origin, and the school system, and the employment sector, the university. What I survived is beyond the beyond. But having said that, I am recording, documenting, reporting, whistleblowing. Oh, I'm hated for that one. Oh, by the gods, I'm hated. But the truth remains the truth. No matter how many times you divide it, dissect it, slough it off, that kernel of truth remains the truth, including the truths I myself have not wanted to accept or see, like my love life. Oh, how I try to dress that up and make that pretty. Can't do it. It's a betrayal of my spirit. But there was a time when I idealistically and romantically tried to make it into something beautiful. No, the ugliness just kept seeping down like black mould and pus crawling off my walls. And so the only way to purify and cleanse that is by being bitterly, incisively honest with my own self about who I am, who came into my life, who desperately wanted to be part of my life, but who could not maintain basic human decency and respect. And then wondered why the Tanya, who's been fighting against abusers since birth, might arc up a bit. Funny that. Anyway, it occurred to me a few days ago when I felt very close with death. I said, God and your angel of death, Azrael. I called out to Azrael. Pretty stupid thing to do when you're already just spiraling down into the abyss, by the way. But not stupid for me, because I'm powerful in my core and I have developed a relationship with all entities that keep me here on this planet for no logical reason. Why am I even here? Why, I said. Why are you doing this to me? What is your modus operandi now? And because I was a bit hypomanic and struggling for my breath, the breath of life, the Ruach. I was reminded, almost in a flash of images, like a life review, of all the things I did while arcing up against abusers, that in the long term, I wasn't aware, of course, at that time, because I was just in survival mode, was beneficial to other humans on this planet. So they reminded me of my former lover, David Davidson, who had me on, he was a homeopath, had me on a particular assortment of remedies, and one of his most favourite remedy was what he referred to as his magnificent penis. A sexual abuser as well as a contemptuous, bloodless cur. But what was one of the remedies he had me on? Kali, the goddess Kali, Kali Iode. Now I don't know what actually goes into Kali Iode or what actual constituent it is, but the goddess Kali, I'm so amused by that. I was amused by it back then when I was in my early 30s, and I'm amused by it now. If you know anything about the Hindu mythology and religion, the goddess Kali is the one that cuts off the heads of her enemies and tramples them into the ground and dances on top of them. The goddess of destruction, of primordial destruction, but also regeneration. And even my enemy, David Davidson, who haunted me for 4 consecutive nights in June 2016, just when I'd weaned off my last psych med, so I thought I'd gone psychotic. No, it was a definite haunting that lasted for 4 nights. David Davidson admired my strength as a woman and as a spirit enough to tell me back in the old days when I was in love with that maniac. He was a maniac. He told me, and this is how I say, my guides and my guidances and my muses can often come from quite evil human beings too, not always messengers of light. He said to me, "You can do anything, Tanya." Now back at 33, I was struggling with my lungs then, with 2 small children in abject poverty, under full-blown physical, emotional, mental, financial and spiritual attack by my own mother, her conman boyfriend, and a previous lover and his sister that were in collusion with my mother and Buck Shearer, the conman boyfriend, later husband. And when I tried to get help and asked for help, I was told that I was insane and making it all up, right? Except I wasn't. It was heinous what was done to me and my children. So Davidson saying, without offering any support or real protection, right? You can do anything, was a condescending platitude that fell at my feet like a naked, ugly bile. And I looked him in the face and I nodded and I said, "You have no idea what I am capable of." And do you know why? Because I don't either. I am surviving day by day, moment by moment, breath by breath, but by the gods, I will take no prisoners when I rise. So, there is that. But I was young. All my energy was diverted into protecting my children and getting us out of that shitful situation, which did not end for years. House move, house move, house move. At one point we were almost homeless. So I have fought with every fibre of my being to keep my family together, and I have had to let go and lose even that. My beautiful eldest daughter, who does strive hard with her ambivalence towards me, caused by trauma issues, to maintain a relationship. I haven't heard from her for 2 weeks now. I know she's working all the time and busy, but she knows that I am very ill at the moment. So her lack of care and connection and tenderness and ethics and morals to even fucking check on me is duly noted by me. She did the same thing to me when I had the gallbladder surgery, so there is a pattern here. And I'm trying not to be angry or upset because, let's face it, she's a grown woman. She has her own life and her own choices. And I don't hold her responsible for my life and existence. I've had to struggle on my own all my life, even when I was married. I had to make all the decisions, and I had to be the powerhouse, the strength to survive that situation as well. It's ghastly, but it is what it is, but it's in the past. Moving on, Tanya. Move the fuck on. So I sit here in my bedroom on a Saturday morning, grateful to the gods, grateful to my friends, grateful for chocolate, grateful for my dog and my little Charlie twittering in her bedroom. She hasn't been able to go out yesterday or today because of the dreadful cold weather, so I'm going to have to go and give her some attention because it's lonely being a bird in your cage and seeing no one, isolated by your loved ones, abandoned, neglected. Oh, smallest violin. Sing it, Charlie. Sing it. Sing it loud. Sing it clear. Sing it everywhere. We will survive, baby girl. With my purple lips. Anyway, my beautiful darling ones, I don't know what happened. I was trying to make a happy video this morning when I started this video 58 minutes and 52 seconds ago. Oh, dear goddess. Hypomania. It's the hypomania, isn't it? I am going to get well, I think, maybe, with a little bit of luck from the gods and my friends. And I am going to continue my mission, which is to bellyache and brawl and scream and yell and stomp like the goddess Kali. Although I'm not invoking Kali. I went, dear Kali, please don't rain on my parade. I promise you, I'm not stirring you up, my lovely. But I am, I am conscious. The reminders. David Davidson had to haunt me for 4 nights because he knew he couldn't cross over, because he knew, his spirit knew what I had had to do to protect myself and my children, including taking him to the Health Rights Commission, which they just swept it under the table, didn't want to deal with it, because women and children are not valued in Queensland society, Australian society. They let them burn in their cars rather than fight for them and get them to safety. I honour you, Hannah Clark, and your 3 babies. My God, what a fate. And I have survived when you and your babies did not. And still the society betrays us. Still, now with the COVID epoch, still nothing is done really. But I am the voice in the wilderness, the voice amongst 7 billion human beings that screams, no. I was reminded recently that my voice, my breathless, cyanotic, squalling, screeching voice, like a banshee at every lintel, has merit, is important, is valued, even if only by the spirits of those who haven't been allowed to continue on this planet. I was reminded about my activism on Facebook and not so much YouTube, but back on Facebook back in the day with my own Jewish community, and how they turned viciously on me for that in 2015. That also has merit and value to those of us who survived pedophiles in our families of origin and in our churches, synagogues and mosques and other institutions. I was reminded of my current outspoken protestations of our governments and medical establishment in recent years. And as my psychiatrist pointed out to me on Wednesday, he said, your integrity, Tanya, is astounding. He said, your cleaving to the truth and your integrity, even knowing that it puts you in a very vulnerable position when you access medical treatment now, even knowing that it could potentially kill you, your integrity, your cleaving to your integrity is amazing. So I thank my psychiatrist, who is the only human male that has consistently, in the time that I've been in therapy with him, which has been 12 years, has consistently had my back and has had to fight for me from time to time. And you know what? That should never have been necessary, that my psychiatrist should have had to fight for me. It should have been the natural order of things as a basic human right of every human being on this planet, that we had protection from our governments, doctors, state, not this constant spiraling under into some dark death cult abyss. It's abysmal. It's abysmal. But I have survived even that a multitude of times. The adult guardian, the public trustee. This is with my mother and conman husband's issues. That was enough to kill me, what they put me through then in 2008 to 2012, when it finally, the will dispute ended. So, as I had said to David Davidson, that bloodless cur, do you know he haunts me still and comes through trance drumming and other, through mediums, demanding forgiveness, like it's his right that I should forgive him, and everything will just be so perfectly fall into place. Recently, I did forgive him. I forgave him for not knowing better, for not choosing to be a better human being, because I am not God and I don't hold that power over another soul that I should pin their ear to the ground with a tent bin like the ancient prophetess Deborah of biblical times, right? But having said that, I did bind him. He was dangerous, as was my mother and various other entities. They were bound together. So now they clamour for my attention. My mother's spirit was here yesterday, and I didn't actually feel her. I didn't feel her spirit per se, but I got inspired, mid coughing up a lung, to put on. Well, I was singing while I was coughing, washing a machine, and a couple of the notes of the humming that I was doing sounded like a song from South Pacific. And I thought, oh, that sounds familiar. That sounds like South Pacific, but I couldn't quite think of what song it was. I was raised on show tunes as a child, because my parents were evil and my sister was evil, but they were very much into dressing everything up pretty, right? They did it by singing musicals all day long, self-soothing. So, so I thought, I know that song. So I put on Spotify and I searched it, and it was Bali High. I thought, that's weird. Anyway, after Bali High came on, the next song was, I'm going to wash that man right out of your hair. And as soon as that came on, because it came on randomly, right? I hadn't chosen it. As soon as that came on, I looked around and I said, get thee hence to the seventh echelon of hell, Gisela. My mother, right? But it's a bit hard to get rid of your mother completely, since, I grew inside her womb and I carry her DNA, and she's in my bones and she's in my blood and she's in my very flesh. But having said that, I did not invite her into my home. She came unwittingly and unwillingly with that little message from the song Bali High. Hilarious. Look, my family was so powerful and magical and evil, but my God, they were funny cunts. So, or my other favourite word, motherfuckers. And my mother was the most evil, profound fucker of them all. Except, no, let's be fair. Her mother was the most evil, profound fucker of them all, because she created my mother. And when it came to me, I had to break the ancestral curse and line And I'm still in the process of breaking it, by the way, because look at the mess we're left with. My daughter who can't even be bothered with me when I'm violently ill, but it is what it is. I get the ambivalence. At least she doesn't hate me on the same scale as my mother hated me. Thank God for that. The viciousness had to be curtailed one way or another. The sadism, the berserker bloodlust that came from the very walls of my mother's womb. So, the gods are smiling and laughing, but the demons are clattering on the roof, the dibukim. Can you hear it? It's in my imagination. But some nights you can hear it. Possums running on the roof. But I knew there was spiritual activity because yesterday, it happened twice in the past week actually. I have an art piece on my back door, which is a plastic form of a pregnant woman that I painted up, and I put woman dollars over her, which were blessings for what I want from life. I painted them on her belly, on her pregnant belly, which represents fecundity and new life and new birth. I made that piece back in 2011. I think it was 2011. I think it was. Anyway, might have been 2013. Anyway, I made it some years ago. And twice in the past week, there was a sound of someone at the back door rattling that plastic form against. She hangs against the screen door, right? And it's like this plastic scratching, shuffling against the door. And it does happen naturally from time to time because she's tucked at the back door. It's very rare for the wind to sort of whip round and into the back entrance and, knock her around enough to make her make that scratching noise, right? But it has happened naturally because I usually run out to check, go, oh, who's there hanging off my door? But twice in the past week, that woman Dala made a noise on the back door, and I ran out, and there was no wind, and there was no one there. And because as I say, I have a very close connection to the spirit world, having myself an intimate connection based on my mere survival, I just shrug it off, So I ignored it. And then, I think it was yesterday. No, yesterday was when the Bali High thing happened. The day before, it happened again. I ran out, no one there, no strong wind, no animal pressing against it. So I was put on notice that something or someone is around, right? Anyway, yesterday that musical interlude, which was hilarious, quite funny. I think it was my mother. I don't feel her energy here, but she drifts through from time to time. And like I say, very often it manifests as musical song tunes, or sometimes other kinds of music. Although the shamanic Tuvan throat singing, I don't think was my mother. That was something far more ancient and powerful that innovated me last Friday. Not this last Friday, Friday before. So, where am I going with this? What am I trying to say here? I have powerful and eternal and loving spirits that do protect me and keep me on this mortal coil, and even I don't know why, but I'm starting to get glimpses and recognition of the meaning behind my journey, even some of the most potent and torturous, traumatic experiences are starting to show me aspects of my psyche that are still unfurling like a lotus, the 100-petaled lotus of the goddess Tara, I suppose. So, look, I'm a strange old bird, really. I'm a weird old bird, and largely undervalued and underappreciated and misconstrued, and living under constant attack. But I wouldn't have me any other way. I like who I am, and I've fought hard to become her. So, on that note, blessings from sacred space, from my most sacred space of all, which is my boudoir. And for a bit of light relief before we go, let me see. This lady was gifted to me by my friend Carol Perlmutter. Because she said she reminded her of my laugh. And laughter and joy and bliss is indeed the most ultimate revenge of all. So, blessed be from sacred space, from Tanya Desiree Aarons, the psychedelic dreamer, Miss Five, who's going to treat herself with some chocolate now and a nice hot cup of tea. From Beauregard! Say hello, Bubble. Say hello to the people. Hey. Oh, that's a nice smile, actually. He doesn't like being on video, usually growls and snarls. Doesn't like his soul being stolen by the internet. And from Charlie. I love you all, and I pray that we all, get through this CERN, large collider, what was it, halogen collider? I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, this ugliness, this demonic betrayal of the human species when they've messed with our planet Earth via nuclear fusions, explosions in 1945, and all the nuclear testing they've done for decades under the sea, and Fukushima leaking, fuck you Fukushima, and Chernobyl, and now the large collider that I personally believe has interfered with our current paradigm and messed with our timelines and interfered with dimensions. But we mortals, we humans, gifted by the gods and our ancestors that love us, and the Holy One that must be looking down going, what? What now, earthlings? What now? Let good human decency, purity of thought, mind, body and spirit. Let love be the only law. I love you. In case I don't make it, because I'm dying and all, I love you to infinity and beyond. Be at peace. We, the people, shall overcome. And if we don't, we will not go down quietly.